Personally, I think empathy is a hard thing to learn. That idea that we can understand someone else's situation without actually being in it ourselves is very complex. So I try sometimes to be particularly and deliberately empathetic to the situations of others. As I'm shooting this video right now, I'm actually learning new ways to be empathy because my family and I are spending a year in Turkey living. And I'm really getting inside the experience of what it's like to come to a new country and to not know what your resources are, to not have friends, to feel powerless in the face of not speaking the language. So even though this year in Turkey was a choice, a very conscious choice, where we wanted to learn the culture and have our kids exposed to new experiences, I'm getting a small, kind of a false, but taste of what it's like to be an immigrant. And even though I'm going to head back home to life in Duluth at the end of this year, I'm going to be taking a lot of new feelings and ideas with me when we go back. So, you know, when you think of the topic of immigration, which is kind of a hot topic in the United States the last few years, I would ask you to try and be empathetic. I mean, feel how you feel on that subject. But I think once you realize what it's like to have to leave your home and what it's like when you come to a place where you have no systems in place to support yourself, then I think the question of immigration just gets more complex and all the subtleties of it start to come out. So as long as I've got this camera going and I'm here in Turkey, if you can take the feelings of motion sickness I'm about to give you, I'll turn the camera around and show you the little valley where I'm standing. I'm in the Cappadocia region of Turkey, by the way, which is where we're living. So I'm just outside the village of Ortahisar, which is where my family has rented a house for the year. So I'm here in a canyon. There are all these little valleys and canyons all over in Cappadocia. And the one thing that you will see no matter where you go here in Turkey is that someone was here before you. There are early Christian churches. The Hittites were here thousands of years ago. The Romans were here and created the Byzantine culture. So every time I go for a hike or a run or a walk, I just look around and I can see someone lived here before I ever came. And if I look a little further through these scraggly trees, I can see, indeed, someone else lived here before I ever came. And you can go climbing in all these caves and the old churches, and it's pretty fascinating. But for me, one of the questions I keep thinking about this year as I read about which invaders came in, which society lived here during which period, I start to think about, you know, at what point do you get to decide who had a right to be here and who didn't? Because it seems like at some point you just have to accept that people come, people go. It's kind of the way of the world.